All right, welcome to the Brett and Ray Show, episode number 3. This is week number 2 of high school football games. We want to go into a little intro because there's some things we want to talk about. We got some news coming up here. I think it's pretty big news. We're going to talk about adding Penn State games to this. We're also going to try to include some NFL games, and the NFL games that we're going to go over. We're going to kind of rotate through. We may pick one or two. But we're going to rotate Philly, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore, so be on the lookout for those games as well. I want to give a little shout-out to Carrie Carter. I coached with Jack Carter at Southwest last year. She had some medical issues and had to go have some surgery done. Wishing her the best. Our prayers are with you. Hope you recover really quick here, Carrie, and hopefully you can back to doing your normal things. We're going to review the games. First game that we're going to review is we got New Oxford at Cocalico. Ray picked that game 28-7. Actual score was 29-5. That was a lot closer game.
29-25.
29-25. That was a lot closer game than what I think you and I thought was going to be, and maybe everybody else. I did not think that game was going to be that close. Unfortunately, we do not have any stats on that game. We cannot find any individual stats on that game. We do have a little game recap. I'm going to let Ray kind of briefly go over, some of the big things that transpired during that game.
Well, the first thing I heard was we were down at the Central Mannheim Township game at Central, and I got a halftime score of 15-14, which surprised me. But then again, different kids, different year. I saw New Oxford play Cocalico last year, and it was a good game. And it was, defensively they did a great job with the double wing and the dive plays and the option and the quarterback down the line. But in fairness to New Oxford, they gave up probably a couple touchdowns, at least more than I thought. But we don't know turnovers, we don't know penalties, we don't know field position, which makes a big difference. And the other thing, it's extremely hard, and I know they saw them last year, pretty much the same kids, I would think, on both sides. If Cocalico's a better team, they probably had a lot of kids returning. They played a much better game as far as being competitive. Took a 22-15 lead into this, middle of the third quarter, and I believe that New Oxford returned the ensuing kickoff for a touchdown to tie that game up. And then with probably about 10 minutes left in the game, from what I understand, Cocalico kicked the field goal and took the 25-22 lead. But there was New Oxford, answered the bell, drove the field, scored with a couple, 2-3 minutes left in the game, won it, closed it out, stopped them defensively to win that game. But they scored more points than I thought, anticipated. But in reality, it's not that easy to duplicate that kind of an offense in practice. The players aren't the same. You're using backups to try to simulate what they do, and that's difficult. So in fairness there, New Oxford did pretty much, what I thought they would do point-wise. They had a kick return for a touchdown. So they scored 20-couple points. Didn't see the stats, running, passing. So I don't know what's going on there, but I do know Cocalico's had a good program and they're well coached.
Well, and I said the week before that I thought New Oxford defense was going to play a little bit better than they did against Burm, and I think they need to tighten some things up on the defensive side.
Well, like I said,
I didn't see the game. I'm just going off of the score. They still, Cocalico scored 25 points. And again, it is hard to replicate that offense during practice. But with the line of scrimmage that they had, I thought they would have done better. I didn't think they would score that much either.
Well, like I said, we don't know the total yardage. We don't know first downs. We don't know rushing yardage, passing yardage, who did what on offense. So it's hard to tell how that game unwound. But like I said, to go into a practice and try to match up and try to give that same look that they have with personnel, with line play, it's not that easy. They're well coached. Cocalico's well coached. Like I said, they went to the state semifinals a few years ago. So hats off to New Oxford. That's a good win. It's a win. It's on the road. I'd rather take a win that you have to work on some things, maybe defensively, but you're not going to get that look anymore. That's probably the last you'll see of that this year.
And those close games may help you in the playoffs.
Absolutely. So it was a good win. They come down. They scored when they needed to. They had to stop at the end. Don't know what they did in the last couple minutes to try to win that game, but New Oxford pulled it off and got a good win.
Next game, we got Southwest at Dover. Ray predicted that score 21-14. That score wound up 45-13. Southwest up front, I mean, they seem to have had their day with them. Offensively, we got Seth Sullivan, 12 for 17, 124 yards, 1 touchdown. And then you got on the defensive side of the ball, you got Ian Wysocki, 7 solo tackles, 11 total tackles, and 1 tackle for loss.
And the two running backs for Southwest had a good day. 11 rushes for 95 yards for Frazier, and Carball took it 7 carries for 73 yards, 10-plus yard average, and scored 2 touchdowns, and Frazier scored 1. So balance was there. And the thing I like about this is we talked about Tony getting his team ready for Dover. And the thing that I like the most about it, 17-0 at halftime. I'm looking at the box, and somebody went in that locker room at halftime and said, it's not good enough. 21 unanswered points in the third quarter, 38-0, game closed. Great effort, great job by Southwest to come off a demoralizing loss at the hands of Susquehanna Township. But great comeback win, really took it to them and took no prisoners. They cleaned house.
It sounds like maybe Southwest might be finding a little bit of their identity.
And they're going to need it because they got a good game coming up.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
Next game, we got Red Lion at West York. Ray had that game 14-35. Actual score was 6-42. Neither of us saw that game. We were going strictly off of stats. But we got West York receiver Janziel Torres. Hopefully I'm not butchering that name. I apologize if I do. 2 for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Good game.
Both of their receivers seem to have played pretty well.
And the quarterback, Ferber, 9 for 11, no picks, 3 scores, threw for 244 yards. Very efficient, effective. And the receiver, Avian Thomas, 2 catches for 86 yards and a touchdown. And you know that they're a big play team because, I mean, you got 4 catches for 160 some yards. So you're 40 a crack. So they're throwing it down the field or they're throwing it underneath, and these kids are breaking something. So they got athletes. They got a little bit of pass game going. Didn't see the rushing numbers, but a good win for West York, and they're doing a good job down there. And we talked about Red Lion. They got a lot of things to clean up.
Next game, Bishop McDevitt at Harrisburg. Ray has that game 14-28. Actual score was 21-29. I wasn't at that game. He was, and he said it was a hell of a ball game. I'll let Ray kind of talk a little bit about that since he was there.
Bishop McDevitt's back. I mean, I thought I saw something that I've never seen before from them. Not that they lost. That had nothing to do with it. And Clarkson North was a good team. It wasn't like they lost to a mediocre. They lost to a good football team. But the execution was not there. The blocking, the tackling, the line play, offensive, defensive, the backs hitting the hole, running hard. The coverage, just total breakdown across the whole game plan. But this week they come to Harrisburg to play. I knew they would. Much better effort. Line play was tremendous. Their first 2 drives they took down the field, scored 2 touchdowns, 16-14 at halftime. And Harrisburg come out and jumped up 22-14. McDevitt come back, 22-21. Really a tight game. Late in the game, they had a big third down and I think around 10. So 3rd and long around midfield, which they'd had to give up the ball, and then you're going to put it right back in McDevitt's hands to try to pull it off. And you don't know what can happen in that situation, especially in a game like that. Somebody comes up, makes a big play, and bingo, you lose. But threw a pass, and they had a good kicker. McDevitt has a good kicker, so 22-21, drive the field, get a 40-yard field goal. All of a sudden, you have a loss. But they ran a dig route down the field, dig route from the numbers into Coke, and he went up, high throw, Only guy that could get it. Defender was behind him, threw it over top of the linebackers, and he come up and made a big-time handsy catch and pretty much salted the game. But great game, 29-22, Harrisburg.
I know you had mentioned this. Mickens got hurt, and hopefully he's okay. That could be huge going down the road.
Didn't play in the second half. Don't know what the details are. Didn't find out. And they need him. But they did have a kid come in. I got the name, but I can't remember the name. He's number 0. Ran hard, ran between the tackles hard. Tough kid. Bust first contact. He was a good player and did a good job for Harrisburg. But they're not the same team without Mickens. You can't lose at the high school level a player. And not only on the offensive side of the ball, he's a great outside linebacker. Comes off the edge really well. And makes a lot of plays, creates a lot of havoc in the backfield. So if he's out, you lose 2 players, one on offense, one on
big.
defense. So that's huge. Hopefully he'll
And
be
a playmaker.
Okay. Yeah, he's
and a playmaker.
Big-time player.
Last game we want to talk about, Mannheim Township at Central. We were at that game. Ray had the score 21-14, actual score 28-36. We got a lot to talk about with this. I know you and I were shocked sitting there. I mean, you called it. They're running the ball down the field. You know, they get close to the red zone. I don't think they were in the red zone, and they throw a pass, intercepted, run it back for a touchdown. That's pretty much the game.
Up 21-20. You're running the field. You're running right down the field, off tackle, off the edge. Stretch plays. I mean, a counter here and there. I mean, they ran
gaining decent yardage.
3, 4, 5, 6 yards a crack. The kid would get to the outside and get to the sidelines and pick up 6, 8. Have no idea. They come out of the huddle. You're sitting here. I'm sitting in the middle. Jeff's sitting on one side of me, and I mean, they broke the huddle. I said, whatever you do,
don't throw the football.
Don't throw it. And once you know it, he rolls the pocket. He could have turned it upfield. He got 5 yards at a minimum. He rolled the pocket. Kid does a 10-yard out. The defender's right on his back. Throws it late. Throws it inside. Pick 6, 80 yards, whatever it was. And the game just... And you know what? Very shocking to me because here's why. Mannheim's well coached. You know, Evans is a good coach. I don't know who made the call. I would have to think it came through him, but there's no way. There's no way. You have to understand. Their tailbacks, their bread and butter. He's their best player. You stay with your best player. The quarterback, he can manage the game. He's not going to win you games, and they know that. I saw him he made one really, really good throw against Cumberland Valley to win that game. But you can tell with his presence, he gets a little rattled. He throws into coverage a little bit, and he doesn't go through his progressions and look for that primary, secondary, and maybe even a check down. So he got himself in trouble with a forced throw. It cost him the game.
Definitely. Central. Kicking. They had a guy kicking off. I mean, Mannheim Township got the ball pretty much midfield every time. Kicker non-existent.
That's shocking because Central had a kicker here the last 3 years. I don't know where he's at, but
I'm pretty sure he's at Penn State.
A kid, you know.
Out the back of the end zone.
You go 50 yards and in, he's going to come out and kick it. But kickoffs weren't there.
There was no extra points.
No, everything was going for 2. But the key to that game is this. And once again, if they played tomorrow, I would bet on Mannheim Township. Mannheim Township did not play the type of game that they played against Cumberland Valley. But here's what happens. When you get speed guys, and Central's faster on the perimeter than Cumberland Valley. But for the game-winning touchdown, he runs a double move. The corner bites big time. Open. And he's down the sidelines, and the safety is stuck in mud. He never moves. And that kid fair caught the ball basically in the end zone. And I'm like,
I don't think there was anybody within 15 yards.
No, there wasn't. I mean, I that corner got stuck, and I mean, he was done. But early in the game, they run that little seam, and then they run that skinny post behind it, and the receiver got inside the corner, and the safety got pushed up, and then the kid threw a perfect pass. But he runs the ball, Nace, and he throws the ball. If you look at his numbers, 17 for 27. 2 touchdowns, and then the Smith kid ran the ball 7 times for 133. And I think Nace he had to run for 60, 70, 80 yards. He keeps you off balance, and he's a dual threat guy, so he can throw it and pass it, and he throws a deep ball.
I don't know why 78 sticks in my head looking at stats, but I feel like 78 sticks in my head.
I want to say Central probably threw for, I would have to say, I didn't see the number, but it was over 200 yards.
Oh, I would say, yeah.
Because they hit a couple long ones.
To kind of tag off of the Central game, you and I were both watching the game, Missouri versus Central Arkansas. Bo Prabula came in the game, had himself a hell of a day. I mean, played very well. Starting quarterback goes down. Hey, that's football. Your number's called. Don't get ready. Be ready and stay ready. And he did that.
And let me touch on that. I know the Prabulas. I know Tad, Bo's dad. And I am really, really happy for Bo. The pressure, you're leaving Penn State, which is the school he wanted. That was his
Dream
school. That's where he wanted to be and where he wanted to play. And naturally with the portal and what happens there, making it right for the kid to go to Missouri. But your chances of going down there and maybe not getting the opportunity to shine, it's there. It's there. It can happen. And he got his chance. He went down there. It was going to be a split situation between him and the other quarterback. That kid came in second quarter or late first quarter in a possession and got hurt. He got nicked. But I look at Bo. His first college pass at Missouri, a 50-yard strike. I mean, he threw a post, and the kid was beat. But, and they're playing Arkansas State or Arkansas Central, whoever that was, and they're not Alabama. I understand that. But he threw a perfect ball. I don't care if you're playing out in the yard. He went back. There's some pressure coming. He stood in the pocket, and he delivered a strike.
And he's played in big games. I mean, even at Penn State, he's gotten in some big games. So,
and I watched him.
Composure, I think, is there. That's definitely not an issue. And yeah, they're playing Central Arkansas, but I think that's Bo against any team.
And he looked really poised in the pocket. He made good decisions on when to get out and when to run. And then later in the game, at a few possessions later, they're around midfield, and he's getting rushed and getting moved around a little bit, and he takes off.
Scored a touchdown. I saw him run a touchdown.
Makes a move, gets to he has nice speed, and but I'm sure his parents are proud, and I'll tell you what, they're humble people, and I'm so happy for him. Him and his brother Kate, in my opinion, I saw them both play a lot at Central, and grandparents are great. Parents are really humble, good people, and hats off to him, and I hope he has just a tremendous year and does some big things. But great job, Bo, and that was a super effort.
All right, we're on to Week 3's games. First game up, New Oxford at Southwest. What do you got, Ray?
Well, we got a heck of a game there. We got a backyard brawl. I mean, those two schools,
they hate each other. Me being on the staff, I can tell you right now, Southwest hates New Oxford, and I'm sure the feeling is mutual.
Yeah, I mean, amongst kids, that's
yes.
We're not talking about. I'm sure there's respect. I'm positive there's respect, and there is. But Southwest is coming off a monster win. I mean, they went down and took care of business. New Oxford went and played a good team, a well-coached team, and got a win. I mean, was in a tight game, but that's okay. I mean, you won the game. You did what you had to do at the end. You drove down, you scored with 3 left, and you stopped them, and you won the game. This game here, Central's going to play with a ton of emotion. The game's at Southwest. the game's at Southwest.
Mhm.
So New Oxford's going down there. New Oxford's had their way with them the last couple years. But I've seen some games that were beauties between these two. And I think both teams are going to be ready to play. I think Southwest West kids are going to be really jacked up and ready to go. But I just think New Oxford has too much. And New Oxford's going to go down there. I think defensively they'll tighten it up a little bit. And emotional. New Oxford's going to win that game 28-14.
Next game, we got Kennerdale at Spring Grove. Spring Grove's playing pretty good football. They got a pretty decent running back.
Spring Grove's playing really good football. And I can tell you one thing right now. The Kane kid ran for 188 yards on 16 carries or whatever it was. He went crazy. 16 carries, 188 and a touchdown.
And you got the leader on the defensive side, the defensive tackle going to VMI, David Zapp.
Yeah,
he had 6 solo tackles, 9 total tackles.
But I can tell you one thing about Spring Grove. 27-13. Cedar Crest is a pretty solid team. They're not one of the best teams in the district or anything like that, but they win their share of games. I think they were 8-3 a year or two ago, and 7-4. I mean, they seem to get in the playoffs. You know, don't go far, but they win games. They win more than they lose here recently, and that's a good program, and that's a great win for Spring Grove. And it tells you, Spring Grove, you're running the ball 16 times for $188. And here's another highlight that I want to mention. I think Spring Grove, if I'm not mistaken, they rushed for 353 yards. That's high school.
Good.
That's a big effort. So they basically, and I have a friend that called me from North Carolina that I work with. He's one of our supplier guys down in North Carolina, and he says, Ray, he says, I got a friend that has a son that plays at Cedar Crest. And he said, I think he's like 6'6" or 6'5" or 6'6", like 290. And I'm like, is that? But he's young. He's like a sophomore. I didn't get the name. I don't remember. He said, and they're playing. Do you ever see them? And I said, no, I don't. But they do okay. You know, they're a pretty good program. And for Spring Grove to do what they did, they took it to them and blasted them. And they must have a tough offensive line, which, you know, I like to pass. But don't get me wrong. When you have a running game, just like Mannheim Township, don't get pass happy. You play to your strength. We've talked about it all the time. If you're a running team and you execute and you do what you're supposed to do, and the other team may even know what you're going to do, and they can't stop you because the execution's there, and you're able to make people, you know, you're able to get people out of the way, create lanes, and these guys can run. But Spring Grove right now to this point is showing they got a running attack, and the other thing they're showing, they got a pretty sound defense. Shut out the first week, 13 points here. So Spring Grove's a good football team right now, and we talked about it. If they beat Cedar Crest, they're going to have a good year, and I think they are.
I think Kennerdale's in trouble.
Kennerdale's 2-0. Kennerdale's 2-0, and they're going to come up, you know, all excited, but I think Spring Grove's going to put the run to them, and I think they're going to push them around the field a little bit, and Kennerdale's not going to have the answers, and Spring Grove's going to beat them 35-12.
Next game, Redland at Gettysburg.
Good game. Let's give a shout out to Gettysburg. I took some numbers off of this. Grant Johnson, 19 for 26 for 370. And then you had the other kid, Kessler. Cash Kessel, 7 catches, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gettysburg with a 41-34 win over Gettysburg beat Waynesboro.
Yes.
So good win for them. Good win. Showed a lot of offense. You know, firepower, throwing the ball. I think Redland's improved. They haven't been good for a long time, but I think they've gotten better. They're 2-0, and they beat Lower Dolphin, and they beat Cedar Cliff the first game. So Cedar Cliff's decent. They got a good program. I mean, they've had some really good teams, but they're always on the winning side of things. And I think they're coming to Gettysburg, so it's going to be a game. Gettysburg's going to want to throw it around. I think Redland's going to want to run it. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to go Redland. I'm going to go Redland to win 24-14.
Next game, we got William Penn at Mannheim Township.
Mannheim Township's going to be. William Penn just come off a win. I don't remember who they beat, but they got a good win. They're 1-1. Mannheim Township is going to be.
I would like to think they're going to clean up some of those mistakes, and I'm more referring to coaching mistakes, not necessarily player mistakes. I think they're going to clean that up.
Well, what shocked me about that game is this: the thing that I saw that was surprising to me. I watched them against Cumberland Valley. Now, you're playing a faster team in Central York. I mean, they have better athletes on the perimeter, okay? Cumberland Valley's got the big kid. Runs pretty well. He's 6'4", but he's an inside target. He's a go up and get it 50-50 ball guy. He's 6'4", and he runs pretty well, and he's got an advantage on most corners that you're going to play against. You don't get corners that are 6'4", but they played back. They kept everything in front, and they read the quarterback. This game, the safeties are shallow. The corners got beat on a few double moves, and then they got beat on the post where they took the safety, which was a great play. You're bringing the safety up to take that inside receiver, and he pops up, and you run that skinny post, and that kid slides behind him, and that corner's behind him, and the ball was over the top, out over the top.
That was a good pass.
Right on the money. So, but I think Mannheim Township's going to have a whole different look. York High is going to come down with some athletes. William Penn going to come down with some athletes, but they're not going to have enough. I think Mannheim's going to get back to the ground and pound, and they're going to take it right to them.
And I know you said the week prior to that they ran zero. I don't know his name, Zero, a lot.
He had to be.
He didn't touch the ball.
He was in the backfield as a lead blocker on a wing, but there's something wasn't right, because I know one thing. He ran in the middle of the line against Cumberland Valley, and he was moving people 5, 6, 7. He had after contact, he was moving people. So I think in this game, I think York High's going to have to do something with their athletes, because they're not going to just be able to line up, and they're not going to have enough. And I think Mannheim's going to be a little bit upset with what happened, and they're going to beat York High 45-12.
Last game, Harrisburg at State College.
Good game, great game. And the thing about this game is Harrisburg's going up there. They're undefeated. Harrisburg's undefeated. They're both two of the best 6 or 7 teams in all of 6A in the state. St. Joe's Prep, LaSalle. So they're really good. Sheffy, they got a running back that was at State College, came to Harrisburg for a year or two, defensive back in and out on the offensive side, came down, lived with one of his relatives, mother or something. I don't know what the deal was, but he's back at State College. He's their running back. And it's going to be really interesting. Now, what's going to happen with Mickens, I don't know. I'm hoping he's good to go, healthy. They're going to need him. This is going to be a State College is big. They're a power team. They'll run a waggle. They'll run power. They'll run power the whole game. And they have this Sheffy kid. He can move a little bit. He's got some nice quickness to him. And you get a big line in front of a kid like that, and he can pick his spots. And they're going to have some power game there with the tight ends, and they're well coached. And but Harrisburg's going up there, 2 big wins, Himotep, McDevitt. And I think they're going to get the third, but I think it's going to be extremely tough. I'm going to look. Harrisburg wins it 28-26.
All right. On to college. So we got Penn State hosting FIU. Penn State coming off a win from Nevada. bringing FIU in. I thought Penn State looked fairly well. I don't think they'll have any issues with FIU. I mean, we'll see how things go on Saturday.
FIU is going to come in, try to play the shotgun and try to move the ball. I mean, they're not going to line up and play Penn State nose to nose. You know that. Penn State's going to come out and basically get them two backs lined up and take that offensive line and push them all over the field. And if they want to throw it, they will. I mean, they're gonna take some shots. They want to get, make sure Aller's getting some reps. But FIU is coming, Florida International is coming up here, and they're in a no-win situation, and they'll get blasted. And Penn State can put 50 plus on them if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be, I'll go 49-10.
49-10. All right. That's the end of week 2 for us. We hope you enjoy the show. If you're having trouble finding the show, we want to hopefully you found everything okay. There's 2 places you can go. You can go to YouTube, Swopes Training. You know anybody that's interested, they're looking for the game, that's where you can go. Subscribe. Also on our Instagram page, we'll have links in our bio that you can get to the games, that you can get to the podcast. Last thing, Swopes Training, sponsor of this show, powered by Swopes Training. Make sure your kids are doing strength training. Injury rates are up. Youth athletes, one of the main reasons kids aren't getting in the gym, getting stronger. The best ability you can have is availability. If you're not available, you're not helping yourself, you're not helping your team. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.